Hare Krishna. Thanks all for joining. As we see, we are in the third chapter. So what we covered till now very quickly, because last week we covered the glories of Lord Jagannath pastimes, because tomorrow is Jagannath Rath Yatra. So we covered that. Hope you were able to uh, uh, contemplate on those topics what been covered last week. Please, I sent the YouTube link. If you didn't hear, please hear that today and tomorrow to understand the glories of Lord Jagannath. Okay. Then what we covered till now, we covered the foundational concepts, which is how the four yugas are there and what is the way to reach Lord in each yuga, and what is the lifespan of each yuga we covered. Then we covered how Vishnus are coming from Krishna, and how the whole material and spiritual universe has been structured, and what is the difference between Vishnu and Shiva Tattva and Vishnu Tattva and Krishna. Then we seen, okay, how to reach to the supreme abode from this material world, and what four things are common: birth, death, old age, and disease, like are common, and why Krishna been called as a Bhagavan. Okay, that we have seen in that particular sloka, Aishwaryasya Samagrasya, that sloka. Then Bhagavad Gita is a conversation, like it is a song of the Lord. It is a conversation happened between Krishna and Arjuna in the battlefield of Kurukshetra. So in the first chapter, there are 18 chapters, and 700 slokas are there, which was spoken in the 40 to 45 minutes time frame between Krishna and Arjuna. Okay. So it is not encouraging violence at all, though it is talking like a fully of uh, the dharma and how to protect dharma. Okay, though it happened in the war field. Okay, these things we have seen. The first chapter, like, okay, the name of the chapter is Observing the Armies in the Battlefield of Kurukshetra, how Pandavas and Kauravas been assembled, how Sanjaya got the special vision from Vyasadev, and how he's narrating the whole scenario to the Dhritarashtra, who is father of Duryodhana. Okay, and then Duryodhana is explaining his war assembly, and the soldier assembled to uh, uh, his grandfather, like a Bhishmadev, then to Dronacharya. Okay, then how Pandavas army is been assembled, and all the Shanka name of Pandavas plus Krishna. Then how the victory was predicted for the Pandavas, like various things we have seen, and five reasons, like why Arjuna is saying like not to fight. So that we have seen in detail. So that five reason is he was having a compassion on the bodily platform. Then he sees like the enjoyment which is he is going to get, like he is not ready to enjoy that. Then he was fearful of like a sinful reaction. Then he was fearing that like the family tradition will be vanquished, like a destruction of family tradition. Then he was unable to take any decision, like he surrenders to Krishna from the front form to the disciple form. Okay, the second chapter, it is the contents of the Gita summarized. Okay, anyone can remember what is the first chapter's acronym?
So first one, doubt, Prabhu.
Very good, Prabhu. Yeah, doubt. Yeah, D represents Dhritarashtra and Duryodhana. Then O represents ominous result. Okay. U represents uncertainty in the mind of Arjuna. B represents bewilderment in the mind of Arjuna. Then T represents, anyone can say, what is T represents? DOUP B T. What does T represents? We have to revise this. Okay. So the second chapter, T represents Tyaga. I also could not able to get it. Yeah, yeah. Uh, I have one slide for acronyms. Doubt. Yes, in this way, like we can easily remember all these, what is the content being explained. Okay, that is the reason I'm just trying to, all these things, yeah, turning point. Sorry, T represents a turning point where Arjuna is surrendering to Krishna because he told he assembled to fight. Okay, they blown the Shankha also, but after that, like he is not ready to fight. He is saying, okay, please take me in the middle of army, and I'm not going to fight. Okay, he kept his bow like a Gandiva, and he is sitting. So that is a turning point. He is surrendering to Krishna as a disciple. Like that is a turning point. Okay. Then the second chapter, the contents of the Gita summarized. What is the acronym of second chapter?
Gita, Prabhu.
Gita. Okay, very good. So G represents Guru. Okay, I represents identity because first Arjuna is surrendering to Krishna as a Guru. Okay, then I represents like then Krishna is talking about first the Jnana Yoga, where he explains like we are not the body but we are the soul. The 30 characteristics of the soul being explained. Okay, that is what represented as a I identity. Like our identity is not our body, our identity is like we are the soul, we are not the body. Okay, that identity being explained as a soul. Okay, then uh, then T represents like a two duties, okay, which is Swadharma and Sanatana Dharma. Okay, Sanatana Dharma is like which tasks we are doing it for our soul. Swadharma is like okay, what we are doing it for our body. Okay, then he is explaining about the Atmarama, like a self-satisfied soul, how he walks, how he runs, like okay, how he sits, all those details like have been explained. So in principle, if you see what Krishna is explaining in the second chapter. Uh, this is what been explained. Okay, first initially he's talking about the Sankhya philosophy, analytical study of the body and matter, the matter and split soul. Then he is saying, okay, you do the activity, karma kanda. First, you as a kshatriya, you have to fight. Okay, you can't run away from the battlefield. Okay, you are fighting to protect the dharma. So please, like you fight. If you win, you will get the earthly kingdom. If you lose, you will go to the heavenly kingdom. Okay, then he's talking about okay, buddhi yoga, nishkama karma yoga, which is nothing but okay, you do the activity, but you surrender the results to me, so that you will not get the reaction, so that you will not have to take the birth again in this material world. Okay, so and you will not get the sinful reaction also because all the five reasons Arjuna said not to fight, Krishna is counter-attacking with the facts. Okay, no, you have to fight because if you don't fight, then you will get all these issues. Okay, then he's talking about the symptoms of the self-realized soul, who is what to say like okay, he will not be biased, and he will not like okay be so overjoyous during the happy situation. He will not be like okay very down or completely like okay, down while the issues are happening or so he is a Siddha Prajna state. Okay, Siddha Prajna state, he will be having a steady mind. Okay, then we saw that sloka like a nasti buddhi rayutaksha nacha yuktasya bhavana nacha bhavaya santi asantasya kutastukam. Okay, one who is not connected to Krishna, they will not have any steady mind. Since they don't have the steady mind, like they will not have the peace. Since they don't have the peace, they will never get the happiness. Okay, this first and second chapter has a lot of slokas to memorize. Who can say like what is the energetic sloka which we can refer from second chapter, so which gives confidence to all of us like to do more devotional service.
Neha Vikram.
Very good, Manji. Yeah. 2.40 like a neha vikramana sosti pratyavayona vidyade swalpam apiyasya dharmasya trayate mahatobaya. There is swalpam, like if you do a very little of the devotional service, it will be registered in our bank, the permanent devotional account, okay, connected with our soul. and we carry only that after our departure from this material world. Okay, so we have to do more and more devotion service, like that has to be our purpose of our life, our goal of our life. Okay, then the third chapter starts with like, okay, what is the name of the third chapter? Karma Yoga. Okay, so Karma Yoga, yeah. So the first chapter acronym is like doubt. The second chapter is Gita. Then the third chapter acronym, let's see. Okay, it is a tree. Okay, T represents a Tyaga because Arjuna got confused to what is Tyaga. He thought, okay, Tyaga or renunciation is like a renunciation of the work. But Krishna explained, okay, it is not the renunciation of the work, it is renunciation in the work. Everyone can understand, okay, what is renunciation of the work and renunciation in the work. Any doubt? Because this is very, very important. Till the sixth chapter, the same topic will be coming again and again. And Arjuna will ask Krishna, Krishna will re-clarify again and again, like, what is Tyaga? What is the renunciation of the work?
Not expecting
So
the
that
fruit.
means if we think we cannot do the work,
Just do the work.
that is wrong actually.
Yeah. So it is not a renunciation of the work. Krishna is not saying, okay, you renunciate the work. No, never. Okay. He's telling we have to do the work. Okay. What he's saying is a renunciation in the work. While we do the work, okay, we get some fun, correct? Like we get some benefit or we get some reaction. That reaction or that result, okay, surrender to me so that you will be able to do the renunciation so that you will not get attached to the results of the work. Okay, so that is what the Tyaga, real Tyaga. Okay, or represents rungs of the yoga ladder, like whole yoga ladder will come in again third, fourth, fifth, sixth chapter. Okay, so that yoga ladder, how from animal life till bhakti yoga, like okay, the yoga ladder that we will see. Then E represents like a exemplary actions, how the great Mahajans and even including Krishna himself doing the work. Okay, though no one will comment. Okay, if Krishna doesn't work. Okay, but he sets the example for the future generation. Okay, then what is the enemy of the soul? Okay, that is what the lust, anger, greed. Okay, three gates to hell. Okay, that will be explained as the enemy of the soul. So this is how like the tree represents. So doubt, then Gita, then tree. Okay, which is Tyaga, rungs of the yoga ladder, then exemplary actions and the enemy of the soul. That is what going to be explained. So we have seen till 11th sloka in the third chapter, where what we covered is okay, dealing with the confusion. So renunciation or working, like a Arjuna is asking, if you think that okay, jnana knowledge is better than karma, then why you are engaging me like in this ghastly warfare? Okay, then no, he is asking like, hey, why I need to do all these things. Then Krishna is explaining, no, it is not the renunciation of the work, it is renunciation in the work. Then from 3.10 to 16, okay, how from Karma Kanda, how we do the activity, from there, how we can elevate to the Karma Yoga. That is what we will see. Then Nishkama Karma Yoga and beware of lust, greed, and anger, like it will be explained. So from third to sixth chapter, around 40, 35 slokas will be there. Like, okay, we can cover it a little fast. But only thing is like all have to revise again and again because second chapter is a little bit lengthy, correct? Like a 72 slokas were there. Okay, so we can cover it like say a little fast if you all agree to revise it like before the class. Okay, so 3.12, let us see. We will cover from 3.12 to 16 today. Ishtan bohan kivo deva dashyante yajna bhavitaha tairdattanapa apradayabhyo Yo bhungte stena evashaha. Bhungte means enjoy. Okay. As we read the sloka, try to, whenever you are trying to read the sloka, okay, at least try to capture one or two Sanskrit words. Like, what is the real meaning of that English meaning of that Sanskrit word? So in this sloka, like we can target the bhungte. Bhungte means enjoy. So whenever like okay any other places like a bhungte comes, we can see okay that is enjoyment. Okay, the bhungte. Okay, bohan means it is necessities of life. Boha means like what is needed. It is not only like okay eating the food, but it is like okay whatever necessities of the life. Istan means like a ishta, which is our desire. Correct, in charge of the various necessities of life. So before this, we have seen okay why Lord created men, demigod, and material world. Correct, because so that men do the sacrifice to the demigod, and the demigod in turn will sacrifice that to the Supreme Lord, and Supreme Lord will be satisfied. Okay, then they will give the rain, grains. Okay, that grain has to be again offered to the Lord. So that is how like we have seen. So, in charge of the various necessities of life, the demigod being satisfied by the performance of yajna, sacrifice, will supply all necessities to you. So, it would be a cycle. Okay, first, Lord created demigod, men, and material world. So, men do the sacrifice as a yajna form. We do yajna like correct to get the rain, so that the who is in charge of rain, which demigod?
Indradev
Indra.
Prabhu.
Indradev, yeah. So Indradev being satisfied with that sacrifice, okay, then he gives the rain. Okay, with that rain, the lot of grains will be coming in, correct? Like so the agriculture would be like okay, prosper, and we will get like a more grains. Okay, by using that grain, we again offer to the Lord. Okay, then we eat it as a prasadam, correct? So this cycle has to continue. When the cycle is broken, okay, why in some places like okay there is no rains are coming because the lands are polluted. Okay, many agriculture lands are like becoming the apartments nowadays. Correct. That is the reason when there is so much rain, the flood comes like in Chennai and many other places. Usually, like many apartments are like submerged because all those places were initially agriculture land. Correct, because of our what to say like okay, so much endeavor and so much greed. Okay, they completely stopped the agriculture. Agree. Then they just made all those lands as a apartment. Correct, like to get more money. So that is how like the whole cycle is getting disturbed. Okay, because of that, the sacrifices are not happening. Because of that, rain is not coming. Because of that, like okay, the hunger and the grains are not there. So much hunger is there. Like that is how the whole world is moving towards. Correct. Like okay, if you see, according to many statistics, okay, the future there would not be any food to eat. Like there would not be any water to drink. Correct. You will have like a very little of the resource, natural resource. So we need to preserve those resources because all these resources are nothing but Krishna's energy. Krishna, in one occasion, one of the Maharaj told that, okay, when we have a tendency, correct? Like, okay, when we in our own home, we may use the water very effectively, correct? Like a very little what is needed sometimes, okay, or many a times. But when we go to some hotel, okay, where they don't really monitor like how much water you consume or how much water like you take it for your bathing or like cleaning your utensils or like cleaning the clothes. So at those time like we may use some more water, then we are committing a sin unknowingly. Correct? Just we it is water is like okay, it is Krishna. If you see like a rasoha mastu kaunteya, so Krishna says like I am the water. So that water has to be properly utilized, like what is really needed. Not like, okay, when I am in my home, I will use less water. When I am in office, or like I am in a hotel, or like some other place, I will use like a more. Then unknowingly, like we are kind of like committing a mistake or sin. So that should not happen. Like so, we have to treat Krishna's energy all equally. That is very, very important. Okay. So then the demigods will be satisfied and the sacrifice will happen on time. Then demigods will supply all necessities to you. But who enjoys such gifts without offering them? But someone like, okay, I did the agriculture, I did the effort. Okay, why I need to offer this to Lord? Why I need to do the sacrifice? If such persons, like, okay, uh, will be called as a thief because they are not returning to demigod. In turn, demigod will not take it for themselves. They will take it to, they will in turn offer to the Supreme Lord. That is how like the whole cycle happens. Okay, because demigods are representative of the Supreme Lord, which is who is Lord Sri Krishna. Okay, so they are the representative of Lord Sri Krishna. That we have to understand. Hope you are able to understand like this sacrifice. Yeah. So they are the representatives, like okay, to take care of this material world. Okay, and one more thing is like okay, in this the yajna doesn't necessarily have to be okay. You have to lit the fire. You have to put the ghee. You have to have like a brahmana invited. No, not necessarily. Like a that is this yajna is prescribed for which yuga? The real sacrifice which we were doing, like by calling the brahmana, by creating the fire sacrifices, which yuga we have seen it in the foundational slide. Let me see who is able to catch that.
So Treta Yuga, Prabhu. Treta Yuga.
Treta Yuga, very good, Prabhu. Like okay, so in the Treta Yuga, the way to reach Lord is like okay, the yajna. In the Satya Yuga, what is the way to reach Lord? Satya Yuga,
Meditation on Lord Shiva.
meditation. Yeah, the Treta Yuga, it is yajna. In the Dwapara Yuga, deity worship. Deity worship. Yeah. In the Kali Yuga, it is Sankirtana Yajna.
Chanting.
Okay, chanting the holy name of the Lord. Okay, that is the prescribed yajna, prescribed way of reaching Lord. Okay, that is what when we sit in the home. Okay, when you sit at the home and chanting Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. We nothing but did the Sankirtana Yajna. When we are doing it together, it would be like okay, even more powerful. If no one is there, please like invite the demigods, invite the Lord, invite the Lord comes uninvited when anyone chants his holy name. It is as good as okay, Lord would be waiting for us to chant. Okay, when we chant, Radha and Krishna will dance in our tongue and in our mouth. That is how powerful this Sankirtana Yajna. Okay, when we chant the holy name of the Lord, Lord and all the demigods will assemble in that particular place. That is what, like, okay, in the Gopakumara pastime, Lord says, okay, I have been waiting for when Gopakumara passes through all the material and spiritual world. Okay, finally he is seeing Krishna. At the time, Gopakumara being hugged by Lord Sri Krishna, and both are going into the deep meditative state. Okay, they are going to Vipravalambha. Okay, they are losing their consciousness, and once they become comes to their consciousness, they were first word like okay, Krishna is asking to Gopakumara, why you taken this much time like to come to this to realize me and to reach me. Okay, that is the same feeling Lord having it for each and every one of us. Okay, we are trying to forget him by thinking about all the mundane things. Okay, no, I am busy with earning money. I am busy with like earning fame. I am busy with like okay, my own family members. I am busy with like okay, my job. But the Lord is just waiting for our consciousness to be redirected to Himself. Okay, when we chant the holy name, the name of the Lord, Lord would be so happy. So if we want to make Lord happy, then we have to chant with attentively and happily in the happy mode. So in the ninth chapter, this devotional service will come. It is Raja Vidya Rajaguhyam Pavitram Idamuttamam Pratyakshaha Avahamam Dharmyam Susukam Kartum Avyayam. While we perform this devotional service, two things have to happen. One, we have to perform with happiness, and by performing this devotional service, we will get the happiness. Because it is Raja Vidya, it is the king of the education, and it is Raja Guhyam, it is very confidential. So we can pat on our back, okay? We are very, 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 very fortunate to get this guhyam, this confidential knowledge, only by the mercy of all the great acharyas and Srila Prabhupada. Because if ISKCON as an institution is not been found by Srila Prabhupada, we all would not have been connected. We all would have been like, okay, uh, in different places, like would have been engaged in different material activities. We all are assembled here for a greater purpose, and that purpose was created by Srila Prabhupada, and the purpose was created by like a Lord Shri Krishna to get the knowledge of Sri Krishna, okay, that Guhyam, that confidential knowledge being passed upon to us by the Acharyas, by Srila Prabhupada, by this ISKCON institution, and we have to hold, we have to catch tightly to this knowledge, to learn this knowledge and to read the scripture and to enhance in our devotional life. This is very, very important. Please, like, okay, uh, because that is the purpose of our life. Any questions till now? Okay. The next sloka. Yajnasisthasinah santo muchyante sarvakilbishaiha bunchate te tva akam papa. Everyone knows like, okay, what is papa? Papa means sin, correct? Santaha means like, okay, devotees. Kilbishaka means like again sin. Bunchate, we already know like a bunkte, bunchate means it is the enjoyment, correct? Aham papa, papa means like a sinner, sin. E pachanti atma karanat. The devotees of the Lord are released from all kinds of sin because they eat food which is offered first to for sacrifice. So that is the reason we are always saying, okay, whenever we prepare the food, okay, the boha to the Lord, we have to offer to the Lord with the tulsi leaf, okay, so that all those sins in that particular food being taken by the Lord, and He gives us a prasadam, He gives us a mercy. Okay, that is very important because that is the reason devotees are offering the boha to the Lord, because Krishna doesn't want our pulao or our biryani or like our gulab jam, correct? He has given everything, correct? In fact, he everything whatever in this material world, everything created by the Lord, owned by the Lord. It is Isha Vashyam Idam Sarvam. In the Isha Upanishad, Lord says like Isha Vashyam Idam Sarvam Yatkincha Jagatyam Jagat Tena Tektvena Bunjidaka Makradaga Kasha Sviddanam. Okay, Isha Vashyam. What is the meaning of Isha Vashyam? It is completely owned and controlled by the Lord. So everything is owned by the Lord. We are not the owner, we are just the caretaker. We are, if we call ourselves, okay, I am the owner of this house, I am the owner of my money, this wealth. No, we are not the owner. We are just the caretaker. Okay, Lord given us the duty for this particular thing. Then a Lord given us the duty, us to take care of the family, to take care of the wealth, and to take care of the money. Okay, we are the caretaker. We are not the owner. We have to remember this every moment. Okay, so the reason like a devotee is always offering the boga to the Lord, so that like okay, whatever sins from that particular boga been removed by the Lord, and He gives us a prasadam. Others who prepare food for personal sense enjoyment verily eat only sin. Okay, so this is very clear. Like, okay, if someone eating for their sense enjoyment, okay, they are eating verily their the sin only. They are not eating the proper food. They are not eating the proper food. They are eating verily the sin only. Okay, so the next sloka. Very good, Sloka. Okay. Annad bhavanti bhutani parjanyat anna sambhavaha. Annad means like we know the food, correct? The grain, whatever food being prepared. Annad bhavati bhutani bhavanti bhutani parjanyat anna sambhavaha. Yajnat bhavati parjanyo yajna karma samudbhavaha. Yajna means like okay, the sacrifice, correct? All living bodies subsist on food grains, okay, which are produced from rains. Rains are produced by the performance of yajna, and yajna is born of the prescribed duty. As we saw already, all the living bodies like require some food grain to sustain in this material world, correct? That the food grains are coming from the rain. It is not coming like by itself. It is coming from rain, because if rain comes, then only food grain comes, correct? If there is no rain, then food grain won't come. Rains are produced by the performance of yajna, because while we perform the yajna, the demigods are satisfied. One second. The demigods The demigods are satisfied by performance of the yajna, and the yajna is born of the prescribed duty. That yajna is like, okay, how we are performing the yajna. The yajna is prescribed in the Vedas. Okay, the yajna has to be performed uh, for the satisfaction of the Supreme Lord, because whatever yajna like we will offer to the Vishnu, correct? We will say, what is that? Sorry, what will you say? Mm, I'm not getting the right. That's look like Vishnu Samarpanam. What we'll say starts with K, correct? Uh, mm, any puja which you perform, any activity which you perform, okay? Huh? Uh, Narayana Samarpyami. What is that? Yeah, Krishnarpanam Prabhu. That the whole thing. कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियर्व बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभाव करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायति समर्पयामि. So any puja which you perform, like okay, they will say kayena vacha, all our body, okay. Kayena vacha, via words, okay. Kayena vacha, manasendriyarva, okay, from our mind and heart, okay, heart. Indriya, like okay, senses. Kayena vacha, manasendriyarva, buddhyatmanava, our mind, okay, buddhyatmanava, prakrite subhavat, like okay, all our activities, okay. Karomi adyat, whatever we do, karomi adyat, sakalam parasmai, whatever we do, like okay, sakalam parasmai, narayana iti samarpyame. I am surrendering, like while we offer to Lord, we have to say like okay, uh, whatever via mind, via body, via senses, via our heart, via our activities, like we have to surrender everything to Lord. If we just via our body we are offering the things to Lord, but at the same time our mind and senses are like in somewhere else, then it is not the proper offering. We have to do all these things like a together, then we have to offer to Lord. Kayena vacha manasendriyarva buddhyatmanava prakrite subhavat karomi yadyat sagalam parasmai narayanayati samarpyami. Narayana is nothing but Vishnu, and Vishnu is nothing but like Krishna. He will offer to Krishna. Okay, so that is how the offering has to be done. Okay, so this cycle, all living bodies like a subsist on food grains, and the food grain comes from rain. The rains are coming from like okay, doing the yajna. That yajna is like a prescribed duty. It has been mentioned as a prescribed duty in the Vedas. Okay, that is what been explained in this 14th sloka. Okay, next sloka. Karma brahmotam vitti brahmakshara samudbhavam tashma sarvagatam brahma nityam yagne pratistitam. Okay. Regulated activities are prescribed in the Veda. So that is what been mentioned. Okay, that prescribed duty is nothing but like the regulated activities, and the Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme Personality of God. So how Krishna says, like in the Bhagavad Gita, how Krishna is giving that knowledge, that Vedas to Brahma. Okay, Tene Brahma Hridaye Adikavaye Muhyandi Yat Sureha. Okay, in the first Srimad Bhagavatam sloka. Janma sorry uh, no. Before that, like okay, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Janmadhyasya Yato Anavaya Titaratasta Arteshu Abhignana Swarat Tene Brahma Hridaye Adi Kavaye Mukhyandriyat Sureha Tejo Vari Mridam Yada Vinimayo Yatra Trisargo Amrisa Damna Svena Sada Nirastakogam Satyam Param Dhimahi. So Tene Brahma Hridaye. So he manifested all the Vedas to Lord Brahma. He given that knowledge to Brahma directly. Okay, Dene Brahma Kritike, Adikavya Mukhyandi, that is Satyam Param Dhimaki. He is a Satyam, he is Param, he is complete whole. Who is the Narayana, who is like a Lord Sri Krishna. So that is what, like, okay, the Vedas regulated activities are prescribed. Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, so the Vedas are directly coming from the Supreme Lord. Consequently, like all the pervading transcendence is eternally situated in acts of the sacrifice. Okay, so this sacrifice been prescribed in the Vedas, and Vedas are directly coming from Krishna. So that Krishna is like okay, asking us to do this sacrifice, this all these prescribed duty. Okay, so that is the reason we have to do this sacrifice. Okay, so the next sloka. Hmm. ಎಲ್ಲ ಕೈಟ್ ಕೊಲ್ಲಾಲೆ ಹ್ಮ್ ಹ್ಮ್ ಇದು ಕನ್ಫರ್ಮ್ one second slowness in my system. Yeah, evam pravratyam chakram nanuvartya yada yatihaya ahyahurindriya ramo moham partha sajivati. My dear Arjuna, one who does not follow in human life the cycle of sacrifice, thus established by the Vedas, certainly leads a full life full of sin. Living only for the satisfaction of the senses, such a person lives in vain. Okay, so we all need to understand this sloka very, very effectively, and we have to do the Sankirtana Yajna. We don't need to do the big Ashwamedha Yajna or like a many, many big sacrifices. No, every day, every moment of our life, we can do the sorry, I'm having a little problem. Yeah. So what I'm saying is, when we do this yajna, like Sankirtana yajna, we will not commit any sin. But at the same time, when we are not doing that, we will commit a sin, life full of sin. And when we are doing only the satisfaction of our senses, then such a person like lives in vain. Okay, he is he is living a very useless life. Like that is what Krishna says here. Okay, so we have to follow the rules prescribed in the Vedas, the prescribed duty as a sacrifice we have to do. When we do that sacrifice, the Sankirtana Yajna, like when we are chanting the holy name of the Lord, Lord will be so pleased. Lord will be like, okay, so happy with our activity, and He will give like a more and more benefit, and He will take us back to the Godhead. Okay, that is what this sloka says. Okay, let us try to see it in the slide. Okay, 11 to 12 to 16. So with the 16, like okay, we have how from the karma kanda we are going to the karma yoga. Earlier Lord says, okay, no, you fight, you do the activity, you do it. But now what he's saying, okay, no, do it with the Vedas in the mind, sacrifice in the mind. Okay, do it as an offering to me, as a sacrifice to me. Okay, so that you will not, Lord is not saying, okay, do that particular thing so that you will get benefit. Yeah, we will get obviously benefit, but Lord is not going to get benefited, because Lord says, okay, for our own benefit. Lord says, like, do this so that you will not get the sin. You will not get uh, you don't need to take birth and death in this life again and again. That these two things, like, okay, till sixth chapter it will come. So when we are offering the results to the Lord, two things will happen. One is we will not get the sin. Okay. Second, we don't need to take birth in this material world. Okay, these two things again and again it will come. Okay. Um, so let's go to 12th. Yeah, this is the yoga ladder, which we will see like in the upcoming slide also. Uh, this we have seen. Lord Vishnu creates like a men, a demigod, and sacrifices for Vishnu, because that has been prescribed in the Vedas. That Vedas, like okay, while Vedas been like given to Lord Brahma while creating the material world, so that the soul does this particular thing and they can go back to the spiritual world. That is the whole agenda. Okay. Then in the 11 and 12, 11 and 12, no. 11 and 12, okay, Lord says, okay, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he empowered the demigod, because demigod is like in charge of the light, air, water, all the necessities of life. Okay, the demigods, we have to offer, we have to do the yajna, like okay, which has been prescribed by Vedas and the Lord and by the demigods. While we do the yajna, the demigod will be satisfied and they will give more supply. Okay. So but one who now not offering this and enjoying their own this one, like they are called as a thief. By doing this yajna, like eatables become sanctified, because all the sins are being removed. Eating sanctified food, like our existence become purified, our life become purified. By purification of our existence, finer tissues of our memory become sacrificed. Okay, sanctified. By the memory is sanctified now, like our liberation to spiritual world would be very easy. Okay, that leads to the liberation. But when we are not doing this yajna and all these things, like we will be called as a thief, and we will be like in this material world forever. Okay, so in the 13th sloka, how it has been explained, food offered to the Lord becomes sanctified, because free from the reaction. Because if you see devotees, okay, they offer the food to Lord, and that becomes sanctified. Okay, because we are doing the yajna, like it is a sacrifice. Okay, the other sacrifices are Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Pada Sevanam. Okay, all these are sacrifices. Okay, but at the same time, what all these sacrifices are helping? It is keeping aloof from the contamination of sinful association, because by doing the sacrifice, we are not going to get the sinful active. We are not going to get the sin, because Arjuna's reason for not fighting is, by doing this I will get the sin, correct? But here, uh, so but here Krishna says, okay, by not fighting for this, like, okay, you are going to get the sin. That is what Krishna says. Okay, so by doing the sacrifice prescribed in the Vedas and in this one, we will not get the sin, and we will not get the birth again in this material world. Okay, but the non-devotees, they prepare the food for sense enjoyment, and they will be called as a thief, and they are eating verily their own sin only. Okay, they can never be happy also. Okay. 13th sloka. Then the 14th sloka, complete dependence of living entities on the Lord. Okay. Again, same thing. Okay, because the devotees worship they worship, like they offer the food to the Lord. Then they are taking it as a prasadam. They are worshipping. Okay. Again, if you see, like in the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, the yajna sacrifice prescribed for this particular yuga is like, okay, the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, because that is, by doing that, like demigods would be pleased, and they will give like a more rain, sunlight, air, and land. Like they will give the foods. So that would be the sacrifice. Sorry, the yajna which we do, like okay, the demigods would be satisfied, and they will give, because they all the time yajna purusha would be like Vishnu or Krishna or Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay. When we eat the food offered to Lord, okay, our body nourishes spiritually. Okay. So that our past sinful reactions vanquished. Okay. Then we will get immune, and we will progress towards the spiritual world. Okay. Master of all demigods are like, okay, the Krishna one being. Okay. So that the living entity is completely to be dependent on like the Lord. Okay. Any questions or any feedback in this slide? Again, the 15 and 16, like a Lord is situated in acts of sacrifice, because all these activities are like prescribed in the Vedas, and the Vedas are directly manifested from the Supreme Lord. Okay. So Vedas are coming like a Rig, Yajur, Sam, Adharva, like it's coming from the Lord, and the codes of working direction, like what is the prescribed duty, what is karma, akarma, and vikarma. What is karma? Karma is, okay, we do one activity, we get the reaction. That is what karma. The akarma is, we do the activity, but we are surrendering the results to the Lord, so that we are not getting the reaction, or we are not getting the this one like a reaction. So that is what akarma, because we are offering everything to Lord, correct? So by doing karma and akarma, we are preparing ourselves to go back to the spiritual world. Okay. But while we are not doing that, like we are doing vikarma. By doing that vikarma, we are doing like, okay, a lot of sinful activities. While doing the sinful activity, like, okay, because we are doing our own sense gratification, then our life is vain, it is not useful. That is what been mentioned in the sloka. Okay. So I think this is which sloka. Yeah. So it is complete dependence of living entities on the Lord. Okay, like we discussed, the rains are coming from food grains, like a food grains required by the living entity. Living entity has to, like, okay, the Vedas comes from the Supreme Lord. We have to follow the prescribed duties in the Vedas. Prescribed duty, like, okay, while we do, we have to do the yajna sacrifice. Okay, while we do that yajna, the rain is coming, because the demigods are like a pleased. Okay. So that is what this whole cycle, rain, food grain, like, okay, the living being, yajna, prescribed duty, and like a prescribed Vedas are coming from Supreme Lord. Okay. So all embodied living beings, like, okay, subsist on food grains. Food grains are produced from rain. Rain dependent on like the performance of yajna, and yajna like born from the prescribed duty, which is explained in the Vedas, and which the Vedas are coming from the Supreme Lord. This is the whole cycle of reaction, cycle of sacrifice. This is what a cycle of sacrifice. So please, like, okay, capture the cycle of sacrifice in your mind and the heart, okay, so that you can, whenever we are doing sacrifice, we have to understand, okay, this is how we have to do the sacrifice, and the Lord will be pleased with the sacrifice. Okay, the best mantra, best Sankirtana Yajna in the age of Kali is the Sankirtana Yajna. Okay, the purpose of human life is like to please the Supreme Lord, and the best process is like okay, unalloyed. It is ahaituki apratigata yayatma suprasidati. It has to be ahaituki apratigata. It should be unmotivated and it should be uninterrupted. Ahaituki means like unmotivated. I am not doing this thing for Krishna because I am expecting something from him. No, it is not a business to Krishna. Okay, Krishna, you give me this, I will donate this much in your hundi. No, that is not the unalloyed devotion service. That is not like Aketuki. Then pratigata means like it is not uninterrupted. Okay, I do the devotion service whenever I am happy. When I am in the sad situation, no, I will not do the devotion service. I will forget the Lord. Or the other way around. When I am happy, I will forget the Lord. When I am in distress state, like I will think about the Lord. No, that is not the apratigata. Apratigata means continuously. That is the reason many places like a Lord says, Nityam Satatam Ananyas Chintayantomam Yajana Pariyasada. Nityam Satatam Kirtayantomam. Okay, all the time we have to do the devotional service. It has to be uninterrupted, like not even a single second, like we should not we live like a without thinking about the Lord. So it has to be like a continuous. That is what. Then the best yajna for this Kali is like a Sankirtana yajna, chanting the holy name of the Lord. Best mantra to be chanted is like okay, Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Likewise, we have to chant and we have to get the mercy of the Lord. This is what the purpose of our life. Okay, Hare Krishna. Any questions? Any feedback? Hmm? Any feedback? Hare Krishna. How so far this Karma Yoga you are able to understand? Because please contemplate, please revise. Then only you can understand all these topics like very easily. Otherwise, just attending 1 hour class and not referring or not revising is not going to help, because this knowledge is it has to stay with us like along with our soul forever. Please, that is very very important. Okay, that is the reason. Once you revise, no, okay, it would be very easy for us to remember whenever needed. That is easy. But if you are not revising, it would be tough. We have to revise so that like okay, it would be easy for us to remember.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Yes, Mataji. Yeah.
I have a query. Maybe it's very small query, but just wanted to ask karma and akarma. So karma always we don't offer to God and do it like that, and akarma we offer always God. So we should always choose akarma, na Prabhu. Karma we should not do.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, correct, Mataji. We have to do akarma only. We have to do akarma only. But to do the akarma, first we have to do our duty, correct? How Arjuna was not fighting at all. Then Krishna says in the second chapter, if you remember, first he is saying Jnana Yoga, then he is saying Karma Kanda. Then you do the akarma, okay? Immediately, like doing akarma, it will be tough even for Arjuna. That is the reason you first do the activity, then surrender the result to me. Okay?
Oh, okay, Prabhu, got it. So first we have to do our duty. So it will come to karma. Then
karma.
again we just give to God. That is converted to a karma.
Yeah, correct, Maji. Because otherwise, what happens is okay. Many common people will think, okay, I am very intelligent. If I do the work, then I am going to get the reaction. let me not do the work. They are thinking, okay, by not doing the work, I'm not going to get the reaction, but they will get a sinful reaction by not doing the work. That is what Arjuna says, Krishna says to Arjuna, Baba, you are saying, okay, you will not fight and you will go and beg in the forest, correct? That is what Arjuna says. No, I'm going to get sinful reaction, so I'm not going to fight. Okay, let me go and beg in the forest. But he's saying, if you are not doing your duty, you are going to get the sinful reaction. So better you fight. By fighting in the war, if you win, you will get the earthly kingdom. If you lose, you are going to get the heavenly kingdom. So at any point in time, you are the winner. So do your duty. Okay, otherwise many will think, okay, by doing the activity, I will get the reaction. Let me not do the activity so that I won't get the reaction. That is their misunderstanding, but that is not real. That is not correct. Okay, by not doing our duty, we will get bad reaction or sinful reaction. For example, today you will say, okay, to Prabhu and to kids, okay, you will say, I'm not going to cook the food, okay, because if I cook the food, then I am going to get reaction because someone you will price or you will say food is bad. So I am going to get the reaction. Let me not prepare the food at all. So I will not get the reaction. You are thinking in that manner, but in reality, by not cooking the food, you are creating the sin. Okay, you are creating the sinful activity. That is the reason Krishna says, first do your duty, then surrender that result to me. Okay, Maji, understood?
Yes, yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu, completely. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu.
Okay, Mataji. Okay, yeah. Any other questions? Yeah, like this, like, okay, once you ask the questions, because everything we have to connect what is the context. Okay, Krishna says to Arjuna for this reason. Okay, that has to be understood very thoroughly. Okay. If no further question, I will try to stop the recording.